pivotal roles in maintaining quality educational standard. Regardless of the geographical environment, teacher's salary is a motivation to effective teaching. When teachers' salaries are paid promptly and regularly, it unlocks the potential in them to give students maximum attention, which in turn produce good academic standard. When teachers' salaries are delayed, it lowers their morale and lack of commitment to work. Therefore, chances to give the best to students are eluded. Most times, when teachers' salaries are delayed, it reduces enthusiasm to prepare lesson notes as well as coming to school early. Teaching in a dilapidated classrooms also a contributing factor to absenteeism, and when teachers who are custodians of knowledge start absenting themselves from classrooms, students suffers. Investigation shows that teachers in the educational sectors are regarded as the most important resources since the sector cannot survive without them. As often said, happy employees are productive when their salaries are paid promptly. Hence, salaries is a motivation to delivering good services, either in a school working environment or outside school environment as the case may be. When salaries are promptly paid and funds allocated are fully utilized, it will improve learning activities and improve the environmental working condition of teachers and staff in any given schools. A visit to some of the government primary and secondary schools in the FCT Abuja at the time of this investigation revealed that some of the schools lack students' laboratories for practicals to take place, while some lack enough infrastructures that could accommodate enough students in classes, as access to some of the government schools were denied. This is earlier primary and secondary school in Karmotoso. Some teachers who spoke off camera disclosed that learning environments for students and teachers are not conducive as there are many loopholes in the school environment. It was revealed that there are not enough classrooms for students and the ones available are not provided with enough chairs and tables for learning. Most of the students were seen clustering together on single chairs. How can good learning activities take place in such environment? It was said that many students have to vacate classrooms for others to receive lectures, as the case may be for religious studies. Investigation further shows that the school does not have a single laboratory to carry out practicals for students in science classes and other subjects that requires practicals. No good toilets in the school for students to use, as it was discovered that the only two available toilets was built by the staff of the school for student use. As many students earlier were defecating in bushes before the only toilet was built, and even many will have to wait on queue for others to use the available toilet, which is being shared by more than 300 students. How can proper hygiene take place in such schools? Information also revealed that the school lacks enough teachers, as some of the teachers that are presently teaching in the school were employed and paid by the Parents-Teachers Association of the school, which is a wake-up call for government to rise up to its responsibilities. How well can students learn in such environment when basic amenities to make learning activities take place are not available?
If there is any delay at all, maybe as a result of maybe little change in policies. I remember the one I can remember now is during the IPPIs. When the IPPIs was inaugurated, I remember there were a lot of delay before they can migrate staff to IPPI. So a lot of delay, about a month or so. The salary, and the thing came around January. The salary of January was not paid till around March. In fact, it was a tug of war. It was a tug of war. It was a tug of war that we have to be sourcing for money here and there to survive. And you know the nature of our work now. We can't abscond. It's not possible that we abscond from the work because of the nature we are in humanitarian service. We attend to students. So if I don't go to school, who will attend to my work? If I don't go to school, if my colleagues are in the school, they have their own schedule of duty. So how will they combine my own? So we try all our possible best. Even despite the delay in salary, we still try. The only thing is we source for money elsewhere, maybe from school cooperative or from friends and family. Now the irony of that is that when you source for money, by the time salary comes, it will affect your budget. By the time you source for money, you must have spent more than the salary you are expecting. So before you balance, you take a lot of time. So in regards to salary payment, I want to say we'll give kudos to FCT. You can't compare FCT with states that have been holding salary for months. So if it happens, maybe as a result of government policies and auditing, for example, last month too, it happened to us. Usually they used to pay salary around 27, 28, 29. But last month, the salary came around 10th. September salary I'm talking about, it came this 10th of this month because they were saying the kind of, what do you call it, auditing from IPPS, also sort of things. So in fact, you see some of our colleagues complaining, coupled with the what do you call it now, the economic situations of the country, inflation and all manners of things. So people find it very difficult. So anytime salary delays like this, you see people complaining, but notwithstanding, we still work. We work and make sure that we do the needful. Just as I said, knowing fully that our service is humanitarian and you can't leave our children. Regarding the investment of fund and delay in salary, since I've started working, I know there are investments here and there, but it has not negatively affected the payment of salary. If there is any investment, it has to do with office management, the managerial level, they tackle that one. But when it comes to investment of salary, no, we have not witnessed it for the past 22 years.
Some of the teachers in government schools visited were not allowed to speak on camera, hence the need to speak to teachers from private schools.
Now, prompt payment of salary will motivate teachers. It will make them to teach effectively because salary is the motivation to every job. Now, if you allocate fund also to the right channel, if the funds are not misappropriated, there will be building for the learning. There will also be equipment both for the laboratory, home economics lab, science lab, and the arts lab. And you know, practicals is the most important thing in learning because children learn more from practicals than theoretical parts. So if the laboratories are properly equipped, the learning and teaching process will be effective. Now, more so, if the money are properly allocated, I think the school environment will also be in a conducive environment where everybody is happy because all the equipment are there. Now, if you pay salary promptly to teachers, they would also be preparing their lesson plan ahead. They will not withdraw from class. They will always be in the class because they know the motivation is also there. And it will also help the children to also love the learning and from leading to absenteeism in school. It also leads to not preparing your plans very well. It also leads to not teaching effectively. It also leads to the children now, when the children are not being taught effectively, they also will not love to come to school and learn. And this will bring so many antisocial behavior. You see children sometimes they loiter about because they don't feel like going to school. After all, my teacher will not come to school, so why am I coming to school? So, but when salaries are not promptly paid, even the teachers are depressed. Some of them they're anxious, and it will also lead them to be aggressive. And most times, this aggression are transferred to the children.
The name of the school.
Okay, my name is Mr. Samson Dada. I teach in Soundmind Best Care Academy. I'm a teacher to year 2. Talking about motivation and salary of teachers, I think in my opinion, every work or labor that one does deserve a reward. And in the teaching sector, one of the things that can motivate a teacher to be able to, put his or her best in the profession is when salary are paid not just paid, but paid promptly as at when due. We discover that in some schools, owners of school, proprietors and proprietors delays teacher salary. Some give excuses that you started on the 11th, it has to be 11th or after 2 weeks and all of that. And some even see that even when the salary is due for payment, they will withhold it for like 2 or 3 weeks or even more before paying it. And it's quite in such cases when the teacher is working, he will not work with joy, because at the end of his or her labor, he or she is supposed to get something that will keep him going. But in a situation where the salary is delayed, he's not being paid as when he's supposed to be paid, he or she transport, he feeds. In the case of somebody that is having a family, he has to take care of his family. So we discover that if the salaries are not paid, it discourages the teacher. And it can even tell on the children, because when he or she comes to the class, he will not give his best. A hungry person is not somebody that will be able to deliver well, because he's thinking of challenges, problem here and there that he needs money to solve. And when the salary is not being paid, when it's being supposed to be paid, there's no how the person will be happy. The result will be on the children, because he will not be able to concentrate. Even when the children are not doing well, it's none of his business, because he feels that he's laboring and he's not being appreciated. So I think, in my own opinion, that when it comes to the issue of allocation of fund, I think allocation of fund should be used for the right purpose. If fund is meant to facilitate the school work and the activity, it should be used for that purpose. But you discover that most times some schools, they collect money from pupils, the name of this, that, and at the end of the day, the money is not being used for what it's meant to be used for. I think in that case, it will not help. It will not help the school to.
I would like to emphasize that in our country, we won't put teachers in the category of people that are high income earners. So they're not high income earners, but however, the little that they get means a whole lot to them. And you won't really find teachers living around the environment where they teach. Some of them come from far and near to come to a particular place to teach. Now, how does prompt payment of salary affect their performance? One, salary is a motivation for a teacher. So if you pay salary promptly, you're telling the teacher that you're important, I care about your well-being, and I want you to be there. So any teacher that gets prompt payment of salaries knows that you're trying to hold him or her accountable. So they try to be there on time and all of that. But at the same time too, when you do not pay teachers promptly, now because they are not high income earners, if you look at the environment, by the time they come to work and by the time they close, sometimes they might not even have time to do any other business. Because a teacher, even during holiday, thinks about the children, thinks about lesson plan, thinks about what to do to improve. So now when you don't pay the teacher on time, one, the teacher will be demotivated. And a teacher that is demotivated, even though the teacher might struggle to come to school, the teacher will not be happy teaching children. And then some would not even have the means of coming to school, especially considering the economic situation now, where there's hike in fuel price and all of that. Where teachers used to pay, even if a teacher is living close to school, where the teacher used to pay like 100 naira, 200 naira before, realize that the teacher might be paying 500 naira or sometimes as much as 1,000 naira. Now, if you don't pay the teacher on time, the salary already is not even taking the teacher from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. Now, when you now delay that little money, the teacher is demotivated and the teacher is not able to come to school. So sometimes by the time it gets to the half of the month, the money has finished. So if you don't even pay, the teacher might struggle to get money to be coming. Apart from paying promptly, teachers, it's like they are like foundation for educational system. I would also use this opportunity to say that even teacher salaries should be looked into. Teachers should not actually be low income earners because they are building the future. And so if they are low income earners, corruption come into what they are doing. And then when there's so much of absenteeism, the teachers are not able to meet up. So the children miss in the curriculum. At the end of the day, when the children are writing, let's say external exams, let's take like WAEC and NECO for example, you see the children failing because sometimes the curriculum are not what completed. So I suggest that teachers should be paid promptly, and more so if they can do something about teachers' salary so that they can also be happy knowing that they're building children for the future.
Happy employees are productive when their salaries are paid promptly. Hence, salaries is a motivation to delivering good services in a school, working environment, or outside school environment, as the case may be. This report was initiated by Gender Strategy Advancement International with support from Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism and MacArthur Foundation, reported by Owolabi Olajumoke.
Teacher, 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 what